Welcome back, my horde. So, this podcast, we're just gonna fucking do it. We've been sitting here for, I think it's been about 45 minutes?
At least.
Because you guys got here about 8:30.
I got here at 8:30.
Yeah, and it's what time right now?
20 after 9.
Yeah, so about 45 minutes. We've been trying to figure out what we're going to do for our podcast, and we keep jumping around different ideas. And the problem to this is the fact that some of us are like, oh, well, this is a cool idea to do it for a podcast. And we're like, oh, that's cool. And, like, half of us can't participate in it. And that's what we're running into is, like, basically we're doing, like, two-man podcasts for some of the ideas. And that's not what we want to do. You know, especially when I'm not part of that two-man process. It's a little fucking weird for my channel not to be a part of it. So we'll just have to, like, work some of those in separately. Because one of the ideas was hobbies. One of them was, like, card or board games that we were really interested in. And I can't remember the other one right now. But that's okay. But, yeah, then we're just, like, discussing some of these ideas while, like, sitting here going, you know, well, that's not going to work for the channel, and this is why. And as we're doing that, I'm saying, why the fuck are we just not recording this? So this is what pretty much this is going to be. Is what the fuck is the podcast going to be in the future? So, before I actually get fully started, please comment below on things you would like to hear us talk about.
Give us some ideas.
Yeah, because we ain't got none.
We have ideas. It's just the fact that our ideas are sometimes a little more obscure. Like, hobbies, for example. The problem with hobbies, which is what we were bringing up before, is the fact that 3 of the 4 of us, our hobbies would be like, yeah, we do this, this, and this, and that's about it. Like, for example, like, you know, my hobbies are theoretically role-playing, video games, and...
This channel.
Like, so, everything I do on the channel. So you see my fucking hobbies. It's why I actually think that the channel actually has been really working for me quite well.
Yep.
How? How can I hear that so freaking great? I can hear a motorcycle outside my place. Well, the crazy part about it is the fact that I can hear it coming from the window that is closed. And now I hear my cat. Moving on. So it's like, you know, that other than just explain that quickly, really, what am I going to say? And the next one is like, Chris, he was like, oh, I have, you know, a couple hobbies. But Chris goes into details like a Smurf turns purple? I don't know. I was trying to come up with something, you know.
I don't go into much details unless you want me to. Like, I read, I play video games, I watch movies, TV shows, that kind of stuff. Normal stuff. Nothing too special.
And nothing really to, you know, actually really go into great details. Like, you know, we could go into what books he really reads. But to be fair, for you guys, he's going to talk about the fact of, like, authors that he's really into and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, I've read a small handful of books. I don't read much. Could be that I'm slightly dumb on reading, if you've watched the channel. Obviously, you notice, like, when in RimWorld, when, like, some names show up, I'm like, and Bob here, from that place. Yeah, I'm not good with words. So, reading is, you know, usually not my huge thing. But even the books that I really did like, there's like 9, 10, 11, 12. About 12 books, I think is what it was, that I really got into. I could never tell you a single author from any of them. It's just not my thing. Though I did like the one author, I just don't remember who the frick his name is.
Yeah.
It was a Star Wars book, if you guys are wondering. I'll actually eventually figure out who it was, but it's just, he was the only one that was able to write for Boba Fett. For whatever reason, he was the only one that was actually allowed to write Boba Fett's story. So because of that, it would be the, every time those books would show up, I could now hear stuff about Boba Fett. And you, young lady, shut up. You're like hiding around the corner, meowing.
She doesn't want you to spur her.
Dude, she wants her spot back that you stole from her. Anyway, then Tammy, you can go on about your hobbies real fast.
So I like doing digital art and physical arts, like painting and drawing and sculpting. I've even tried getting into cosplaying stuff. And I obviously try to help and play video games with the channel. I do actually enjoy myself when I do those, so... And I try to read. It's hard when I have so many other hobbies. And I like cooking. I don't like cleaning, though.
And then we have Jay, who actually apparently has the more hobbies. He's the one that actually suggested this. So you know, of course, you know.
Oh, I like playing board games like Risk and Monopoly, mainly because my brother really got me into those.
For the record, with Risk, I like the game more. The great game, the Risk game, it actually literally would figure out how much men you were supposed to get per turn. So it did all the calculations to that, so you never had to. I think it's one of my biggest problems with Risk was the fact of trying to do the math and trying to figure out how many pieces I was supposed to get each turn. Well, am I supposed to get 6 or am I supposed to get 7? I can't. Like, does this one count or? That was always my biggest.
No, I can understand that. Another thing is Warhammer 40k. I play the tabletop version. I've got my own Tau army, and I love just slowly assembling the units and painting them up and making them all look pretty.
Don't worry. I'm just pantomiming to Chris to make sure he stopped pulling on my blinds.
Oh, okay. I enjoyed the process of sitting there and planning out how I want the armies to look.
You can put your arm up
set
there.
up.
No, I know. Off the curtain.
That a lot of my time is mainly done through reading fan fictions.
Honestly, I fucking hate
That's
fanfictions.
that's a dangerous rabbit hole to go down.
I'm well aware of that's a dangerous rabbit hole to go down, but I just like the people's rendition of the what if.
See, I fucking hate it. I actually tried it out for myself once. I wasn't that good at it, but my biggest problem is the fact that, like, people put this weird spin on thing that I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I think the problem is the fact that the few that I've heard about / you know, slightly seen have always just been like super extreme.
Yeah, they hyperfixate usually on one character. They're like, "This is my precious," and then that's pretty much how the story goes.
Or they ship people together that, you know, you're like, what the heck is wrong with you? Like, you know what shipping is?
Yes.
Okay, good. If you don't know what shipping is, because maybe I should actually tell you guys, it's when you basically put two people together that in a relationship that may or may not have been supposed to be in a relationship. The great example of it is actually, because most people know about Naruto,
Yeah.
is a lot of people were shipping the different people back and forth, like, for example, Naruto and Sakura instead of Hinata and stuff like that. Or,
For me, Hinata just came out of left field. Like, I don't have any problem with her. I think they're a good couple, but, you know, watching the original Naruto, you always thought that he and Sakura were going to get together.
Yeah, well...
Except that she was so fixated on Sasuke.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing, is the fact that...
I never saw Sakura getting together with Naruto.
She finds him too annoying.
In Ino, maybe with Naruto. Maybe.
Yeah, but I like who she hooked up with.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong.
Was she
Naruto and Hinata, yes, they work well. And here we just went down that rabbit hole.
No, it's fine.
Straight up, right? We just went down that rabbit hole.
No, it's just interesting, like I said, because, like, I think the reason, like, going back to Chris's, like, discussion about the fact that she came out of left field, I think, according to the writers, at the very least, the idea behind it was the fact that she had always been fixated with Naruto, but was always too shy to tell him, and could never explain to him that she did. And because she's not a main character, you never got to see that form or part of her until this moment where she was able to finally express it.
Which was in the Pain arc.
I think she actually started expressing it before that. But that is where she basically that is when she actually sacrificed herself for him.
She fully confessed and said that she
that's the arc that I'm actually in when I watch the anime, is the Pain arc.
Just go. Just watch it. Just
also,
get past it.
Also, for the record, I'm not trying to be elitist. I'm not trying to be one of those guys who's like, oh, you know. But if you watch the English version of Naruto,
the dubbed
I'm
version.
I'm sorry. I feel sorry for you. I really do. Like, that's all I gotta say. It's like,
believe it.
Yeah, that's the part.
I want to shoot whoever came up with that piece of stupidity.
Like, all he had to really, like, change it to is, like, yeah. Like, that's all they would have to do is, like, if they really wanted to do it, like, that's my ninja code, yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been so much better, like, just
or
this, like,
woo,
yeah.
Or
well, woo is too, like, like, uppity,
Yeah.
or it's just, like, because he's trying to go, like, raw, like,
Yeah.
so it's, like, just a yeah,
I mean, they could have gone worse with. They could have went. That's my ninja code. Woo! Or yeehaw! Go
But
total
no,
western on
especially,
it.
especially since Databeo, which is what he says in the anime, is a verbal tick. And
Just
his
like his
mother
mom.
had her own verbal tick, which was Databante, I believe.
But the thing is the fact that those aren't real words.
Yeah, no,
So-
it is just simply nonsense. It is just a
But
sound.
then it's like theoretically, in the English version, it would be like, Willy Wonka. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, but
He's got Tourette's.
Yeah, but it sounds stupid. Speaking of Tourette's, because I actually was watching a bunch of random stuff. That's, I guess, my quote-unquote hobby. When I'm just bored, I'll just, like, go onto, like, Facebook videos, or even YouTube videos. It's just, Facebook, it's usually I'm already on Facebook, and I see, like, it tells me I have, like, a video I'm supposed to watch. I'm like, there's no fucking thing, so I click that, and then I see something, and anyway. There's a girl that was on there that was actually, like, has Tourette's. And that's actually, like, has a cooking, and I use that
I've seen it. It's hilarious. And I like the fact that she doesn't take it seriously. Like, she's okay with it.
To be fair, I think she, I could be wrong, because again, I don't know anything about her or the scenario, but I think some of it is actually her overextending it. Like, it starts happening, and she rolls with it.
Exaggerates?
Yeah. Because there's been a couple times where I've watched her, if you don't know what Tourette's is, anyone, it's involuntary muscle spasms and verbal spasms.
Yeah.
Or a combination of either. And she's got both. And at one point she's putting vanilla in, like she's baking cookies. And she's putting vanilla in. And then she starts having a fit. And instead of because she's just pouring it into like a little spoon. Instead of moving over to somewhere else, whatever, she puts it right over the bowl that she's cooking with, and then just dumps most of the vanilla in there. So I'm not sure if it's again, not knowing anything about her, I'm not sure if it's she's over-exaggerating it because it's already starting to happen, she can feel it's happening, she's just rolling that coaster and not trying to stop herself. I don't know if you can or not.
I have no idea.
Or if it's the concept that she knows it's happening and basically has, over the years, trained herself to just go for wherever's the safest for wherever she's doing it. So, for example, maybe in her, head, it's safer just to put it over the bowl and just keep going.
Less of a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that second one makes a lot more sense.
Well, the way that she does it, if you watch the videos, that's where you start questioning, because some of the times, you could think that she could pull it back instead. If she can feel it coming. She could, because it looks like, when, the concept is that when I can start seeing her hand shake, she pushes it forward over the bowl, and then it starts being violent. But the concept is that because she's only half pulled anyway, she could always go this way, and it would just be the same. There would be actually no mess, because she'd just be upright doing this. You guys can't see, but just upright shaking.
My mother's got several medical conditions. One of those is she can try to hold her hand, and you'd hold your hand out, and it's nice and steady. Hers will automatically start shaking,
My mother-in-law is the same.
she cannot stop it.
My mother-in-law's the same.
And so one of the things for that exact thing when she's cooking is if she's going to start pouring something, it is far more likely if she tries to bring her hand back that it'll just end up dumping the entire thing.
Well, again, she's already dumping the entire thing. Oh yeah, this girl.
No, but
she's already dumping the entire thing.
Using that example, it's my mom just up and just goes and dumps it. She's just given up. She's got a separate mixing bowl that she does all her pouring over, simply so that if she pours everything in, she can recover some of it.
Yeah.
But like I said, it was one of those things where, because we were talking about something similar to that, I came to my mind, and it's you always were wondering certain things. And I know there's another weird thing I was going to bring up, but it's a weird topic, so I'm just going to preface this with the concept that I'm not trying to be mean to anyone. This is actually just an observation, and I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but we'll continue and you guys can,
Yep.
theoretically defend me when we get there. I think it's Down syndrome.
Yeah.
A lot of those people look very similar.
Yes.
I actually wonder if that's like the default human. If like they are what humans are actually supposed to look like. The default before all the genetics modifies and stuff like that. Because there's so many of them that look very similar. That it's weird that from all around the world that they didn't, they don't look dramatically.
You're thinking it's the common base root rather than the extension, whatever, for race or anything else like this. It's just the common base root that everything is.
Yeah, before we start modifying, taking after our parents more.
Yeah.
They basically.
I never really thought about it.
The reason I actually thought about it because I actually saw a picture of like 3 people. I think it was.
Yeah.
It was a show I was watching. I think it was like something on Facebook or maybe or something like that. And it was just like the entire show had like 3 people from it that had Down syndrome. It was like a show that was actually they were actors. Like
Yep.
It was a really interesting show. Like I can't remember what it was called or whatever because again, when you're watching it on Facebook for sure, it doesn't really sometimes tell you its name properly, and
Yeah.
then it's gone. But because it's fucking impossible to find those again. But I remember seeing it and I was like, wow, like they all look very similar. Like, and then thinking about it, I'm like, I wonder if that's the default human. Like that is like what we as a race look like before our parents are actually put into the mix.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm like, that's fascinating to actually think about.
Like I said, I'll have to definitely look into that because I've seen people with Down syndrome before, and none that really spring to mind for me to be able to mentally compare.
Yeah.
And I'm only ever seeing a photo of it's one person in it.
Yeah, like I said, it was like
I don't have the side by side comparison.
I'm pretty sure like the show I was watching, it was 2 guys and a girl, and of course you could tell the guys separate.
Yeah.
But it was the concept that they still looked very similar. They look like brothers, despite the fact that they are definitely not brothers. And then I remember, because I'm good with faces more, I remember seeing a couple from like high school and stuff like that, and I'm like, they look very similar. Like, and it's just like that's my thought process. Then again, it could be also me having the issue that I think some white guys look the same. Some people are like, oh, you say like, you think that any 2 races, like, I see 2 Asian people, they look the same. Or I see 2 black people, they look the same. And people are like, oh, you're racist. That's why you should bring up the fact that I can't tell sometimes white people apart.
Yeah.
Like, when I was
Spartacus,
younger...
season 2.
Huh?
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
my. Spartacus season 2, which is theoretically season 3.
Yes.
Because season 2
was
was actually a
1,
prequel.
and then season 2, which was the prequel, and then
Yeah. So
yeah.
season...
So season 1, season prequel, season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the guy that actually... if you guys don't know, in Spartacus, the TV show, the main actor who was Spartacus...
In the first season.
In the first season, yes. He actually got injured after the...
But he didn't get injured, he was very sick. He had,
He was hospitalized. He was hospitalized.
Yeah.
Anyway. And they were like, oh, well, he can't film season 2, but we want to keep season 2 going because we want people to not, just forget about the show. So what we'll do is we'll do a prequel. We'll bring up all the original cast, and we'll just do a prequel about what happened before he joined.
Yeah, before season 1. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. And then they'll should give him more than enough time to recover from this. Well, he didn't recover. He died.
Yeah.
Sadly. So they actually recasted him. Okay. Instead of, explain this to the audience when season 2, the official season 2, started. They just had a battle scene. And all, because we watch it separately, but all of our opinions were like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
They're saying this guy's Spartacus, but he doesn't look like Spartacus.
And which one of the 3 guys is Spartacus?
Yeah.
Because they all look freaking the same. They all have short hair.
There was
no facial hair.
There was no distinguishing characteristic. Like the guy from season 1, it was very he has the presence, the authority for Spartacus, but the other guys, it was like Joe, right? Right? No, you're Bob, right? You had the facial hair.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah.
So, So like,
Which
you
is
know,
really too bad because I really liked that show. Like I watched
Yeah,
all of
I
season
couldn't
one.
watch season 2.
Neither could I.
I-
I couldn't get through the first episode of it
I couldn't-
because
I couldn't even get through the first 10 minutes of it.
yeah, same here.
Once they said that this is a new Spartacus, I'm like,
What they should
okay,
have
that's
done.
cool. I just don't know who the Spartacus is. I'm out. Now, again, I'm fine with them recasting. If they had recasted someone that was like distinct looking, or at the very least, put him against 2 contrasting people.
Yeah.
Like, so that the 3 people that were fighting were Spartacus, some other guy, and some other guy that looked nothing like him.
Yeah.
That way, at
But
least now you
instead
can see
they're
this
all
new Spartacus.
there's 3 guys here talking and they all look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what they should have done, like, at the beginning was in loving memory of, and then the actor's name, because then you'd be like, who the heck was that guy? So then you look it up, and then be like, oh, he was the main actor in the first season.
They may have done that at the end, though. I know they should have done it at the beginning, but yeah, they may have done it at the end. It's also like another show that got canceled because of something similar was Kindred, The Embrace, which was a really good TV show that only had 1 season because
It's only like 8 episodes, I think.
which was their 1 season.
I'm not arguing,
But,
it was a good show.
Their main actor, after the thing, he went to Europe. I think it was Europe, but anyway, he went for a motorcycle ride, crashed his bike, and died. And so they just never filmed another season. Despite the fact that what they should have done, in my personal opinion, is just state that he died.
Yeah.
Like, the vampire died. But the person that introduced me to that show was like, no, because if they'd done that, you know, he was a very important vampire for that city and stuff like that. I'm like, sure, they could have come up with something.
Yeah.
They could have put him in a deep torpor and had one of his assistants running it.
That's
and
one good thing. That was
But-
the kind of cool thing about Kindred the Embrace is it was a white wolf. Like it was
Production.
actually based on
Yeah.
Vampire the Masquerade.
then they
Which-
could have figured out something. They
Which,
could have got creative.
eventually, you will be playing that.
Yeah, there's evidently a new Vampire the Masquerade game coming out.
Yes.
Pretty soon.
I'm
There's
not
a
too-
couple,
Next
actually. Well, not
year's
Vampire.
Swan,
There's
Swan Song.
yes.
There's 3 of them that have come out. There's, for White Wolf, there's the,
There's Code
Story
Red
mode.
New York.
the story thingy,
Yeah.
which is whatever you just said. Then there's actually, Bloodlines 2. And then there's actually Werewolf.
And there's actually another vampire game coming out that he just mentioned, Swan Song.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Yeah, that one
The
coming out.
only vampire game I remember playing was Vampire the Masquerade.
Bloodlines.
The one that I lent you, yeah, or gave to you. Vampire the Masquerade Redemption.
Oh, is it Redemption that you own?
Yeah.
So that's the
That's
Dark
the first
Ages.
one. Yes.
Yeah, which was not that good.
It was not bad for what it was.
Well, in comparison. Okay, in comparison to
Compared to
Bloodlines.
Bloodlines, no.
For it being the first game, it wasn't bad. But for if you played it after Bloodlines, like I did, it was terrible.
it's the only one I've ever really played. I think I played another vampire game.
I've got them
but
both on Steam if
I
you want to try them.
don't know really anything about the entire series.
Well, like I was going to say, is, I may have misspoke. At some point in the next few years, we are going to, you, me, and Chris, at the very least, we'll be playing, I keep having gas, I'm sorry, gas. Anyway, we'll be playing White Wolf Paper and Dice. That's what I was going to say.
I always wanted to try it, but when we mentioned it last time in the podcast, it's every time we gone to try it, I end up making a character and shit happens and we never play.
Yeah, well, my idea is the fact that once we're done the twins, we are going to be moving on to another thing. Even if the twins does horrible on the channel.
Yeah.
For you guys don't know what the twins are. I'm pretty sure August, I'll have it fully set up. It will be at least a weekly. I just don't know if it's going to be once a week or twice a week. That's where I'm still on the fence. But it's going to be a weekly thing where me, Chris, and Jay are playing D&D. And we're just recording our audio with a picture on the screen of our characters. But anyway,
Provided to us by Tammy.
yes.
You know, you guys commissioned someone else, you know. Some Tama Panda lady, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you wouldn't go and off them for doing that.
No, Tammy wouldn't care. She'd be confused on how the frick I convinced someone to do it for free.
Yeah, because there's no way I'd be paying someone else.
But anyway, the idea is after we are done that, we're going to be moving on to a different role play. Either Jay's going to be GMing us still, or we're going to have me GM.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out when we get to that
When it
milestone.
gets to that point, yeah.
Because Chris has wanted to play a few different role-playing systems over the years. So have I. And Chris also really does want to try getting back into role-playing to some degree. At least that's what he's kind of stated. He's not commenting right now, so I'm a little worried. So
It's not that I want to get back into role playing. It's the fact that I would like to be able to role play, like not just play the game and just blah, but actually play a character. Actually try and get into the character. I'm having fun with the twins so far.
I think you're still a little off on getting fully into him, though. Unless he's just like a passive, guy too.
Well,
You're angry enough for both of us.
See, and that is my character. That is the character. Like, he's not completely angry. It's just the fact that he is having like.
You're very short tempered. You have very little patience.
And the
Yeah.
DM loves poking that button every time.
Doesn't fucking bother me one bit.
The player, no.
No, but it's freaking
The player, I'm
hilarious.
sure, actually finds it amusing.
I just don't give a fuck. Because like I'm just playing my character, so.
Yeah.
When we start getting into those parts, I just try getting to the mindset of the character and just move on. But, yeah, so, like, I know that you want to do, at some point, you wanted to try different systems like Shadowrun.
Yep.
And we were going to look into doing, like, a Fallout thing, maybe.
Shadowrun,
Fallout
Fallout.
theme or actual Fallout?
Actual Fallout.
That's right. You guys told me you guys found something like that.
Yep.
What's the other one that I wanted to... Call of Cthulhu.
I have no idea how to run one of those.
I have the books for it.
Yeah, you don't have
or I will.
It's the horror psychotropic genre that I'm not that good at.
Well, again, it would be the concept that you don't have to go as extreme.
Yeah.
You
It could
know.
just be like a mystery kind of idea. Like, I'll give you, like... I actually don't have the current editions yet. But when I do, I can just lend them to you. You can just kind of go through it.
And, like, with some of those, we could also go with a theme where, like, it's only supposed to be one adventure. Like, unlike the twins, who's literally our goal is to, at least my goal, is to get to as high a level as I possibly can in general. Like, I would like to be, like, 20 plus or 40 plus kind of idea. Because I know at least 2 classes I want to jump into, so.
Thanks for giving me that information now.
I did tell you that once at a point in time.
Yeah, I don't think I really registered it at the time. But now that I know, I'll definitely make sure.
There's
I
at least-
include
Well, I've got my prestige class already picked out.
Yeah. And instead of going to a prestige class, I was thinking about just jumping into another class completely. But we have to work with it, we have to talk about it. Because one of the ideas, without spoiling too much, was maybe going into a dark paladin. But I don't like the prestige class.
Yeah.
I think it's a stupid freaking
it.
thing.
I quite frankly would be more inclined to just alter the base paladin itself.
See, I brought that up to you and you told me no, for the record.
That's because then I've been and then you brought it up to me and I said no, it's. But now I've been thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it and going, why in the fuck can a cleric be evil, and yet a paladin has to be good when it can still be a paladin of an evil god?
That's the way I've always looked at it.
Well, the
yes,
problem
this
is-
paladin of this evil god. Oh,
The
why
problem-
do you mean it always has to be lawful good?
The problem is that that's the actual problem with a paladin, is the fact that theoretically a paladin should be either good or evil, and should be lawful.
Yeah, no, that I can fully get behind.
Because the concept that it can't be neutral, because then its ability doesn't work.
Yeah.
Which its ability is like,
The smite or whatever?
the smite, yep, and then on top of that is, because it's smite good for
Or-
a paladin,
yeah.
or in this case, smite, Actually, sorry, it's Smite Evil.
Evil or Smite Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it would be Aura of
Yeah.
and Detect.
Yeah.
But you can't detect neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it has to be either good or evil.
And it would be weird for the, because I know that we had a friend once who was like, I want to be a neutral paladin. And I remember you were like, talking to me about it, and I'm like, no. Because the problem with being a neutral paladin is the fact that you can't turn around and go, oh, I smite good today, and tomorrow I'm going to smite evil. That makes you way too overpowered.
I like that.
It just makes you way too overpowered, because then you basically can attack both sides of the fence.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which basically, you know, with the paladin, it was, with all of its greatness that it had, it forced you to pick a side.
Yep.
And then lawful makes sense because you have to pick a code. Just like, you know, a monk theoretically is supposed to pick a code. It's supposed to be like the code that you train under and stuff like that. Because a lot of martial arts, for example, has a code.
You know what? I agree with that. I'll go with that.
So because of that, you have to have this like code. It's the concept that one that I've never liked is, why can't a barbarian not be lawful? Because he's supposed to be. It says no lawful. I've never understood that to be exactly, to be frank, because the fact that as a barbarian, I can have a code and still go into a rage.
Yeah.
Like,
someone could break your code or make you break your code, and could
make you go into
go
a rage.
I think in the later editions, like 5, they changed that.
I don't know. I didn't play much.
doubt it.
I've never even looked at 5, but it's just what I've caught on some streams that I've watched every now and then. But
Because, for example, like, going with, like, other medias, one of the good examples of it would be Vulcans. Vulcans are lawful. They have a code. But a Vulcan can still go into a berserking rage. It's frowned upon his code. So theoretically, you could have it's a joke thing. You could have a lawful good barbarian who can't go into a rage because it's against his code.
oddly enough, that's most of the barbarians I play. Anytime I've played a barbarian, I've never gone into the rage because I did not like the lack of control.
See, how I've always played it, because again, maybe I'm playing it wrong, but how I always played it is the fact that if you actually go into a rage, you're supposed to specify what you're going into a rage for and stuff like that, and you're basically now focused on that. So as long as you basically lose out on, like, you basically get tunnel vision on that. So for example, there's a troll over there. I go into a rage, I want to kill that troll. So you're attacking that troll just for your rage. And as long as no one pulls you off the troll, you're fine. But once the troll's dead, you don't go, I go for my next target. Oh, there's my friend over there, I'm going to kill him. That didn't make sense.
The unfortunate part is when I was playing the barbarian, the GM went exactly that way.
Yeah, and I think that's...
It was, you got to make will rolls for everything, and it was quite literally my dice despised by party members. Because anytime it was, make a will roll to not attack your party member, I roll a 1.
I think it actually...
I killed a lot of party members.
I think if you go into a rage as a non-barbarian, you actually... That mechanics makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you're not...
With a barbarian, the rage is part of the class. You should be able to focus and channel this properly. Now, if you're like a baker and you go into a rage, you're going to be completely and utterly ballistic.
Yeah, it says here, that, just reading it real quickly, that you become strong and durable, but you become reckless and less able to defend yourself, giving you a strength bonus and a con bonus, and a bonus to your will saves. However, you take a minus to your armor. Basically, not paying enough attention around your surroundings to actually defend yourself. No, it's under rage, man. What are you talking about?
Oh, shit.
The increase of the con, blah, 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 blah. While raging, a barbarian cannot use any charisma, dex, or intelligent-based skills. Because, again, you're not focusing on any of those things. Nor can he cast spells, which, actually, funny story, you can actually get into a prestige class called a Raging Mage or something like that.
Rage Mage or something
Yeah,
like that.
and it's actually the concept that while in a rage, you can cast spells.
It's interesting. I'm looking at the 5th edition Barbarian. It's a little different. As far as I can tell, there is no alignment restriction.
Okay. So the other thing here is it says that you can prematurely end your rage. At the end of your rage, the barbarian loses the bonuses. A barbarian can fly into a rage only once per encounter at level 1, and therefore blah blah blah.
You know, I've been playing...
Entering a rage takes no time itself, but a barbarian can only do it. Can do it only during his action. So not as a response to something. When he flies into a rage, struck down by an arrow, blah 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 blah. Yeah. So it actually doesn't state. Doesn't. But
the problem is when I was playing with that DM, is it was literally when I first got into D&D, I never GM'd at that point at all.
Yeah.
So I've ignored barbarians entirely based off of that mindset, that the way I described that.
Yeah.
I had to make will rolls for everything, and I was killing a lot of my party members because of it. Reading that now, why the fuck am I not playing a goddamn barbarian more often?
Not to mention...
sorry, go ahead, Tammy.
I was just going to say, not to mention, if he was going to continue to be like that, if you had access to Book of Exalted Deeds, page 45, Righteous Wrath.
Book of Exalted Deeds hadn't even existed at that
Just
point.
letting you know, you maintain your mental abilities while raging, allowing you to deal non-lethal damage if desired, stop attacking, etc. And the first round of your rage, your foe is shaken in combat.
Yeah, there's a couple of those weird ones where it's like when you actually start like going to a rage, like you can actually, which is actually a mean freaking one. You can actually go into a rage and every enemy within like a 40-foot radius or something like that can immediately flee from you.
Well, yeah, you got a pissed off
Intimidating rage. That's what it was.
You have a pissed off rage barbarian right there, just going like, I really don't want to deal with this.
So,
Yes.
I was just looking at 5th edition, and some of the things that they do with Barbarian is kind of interesting. Like, rage. It says you end your rage if you have not attacked or been attacked for a turn since like your last turn.
Which is stupid because theoretically, I remember one of the times that I went to a rage, I literally had to run into combat.
Yeah. So it says your rage lasts for 1 minute. It ends early if you are knocked unconscious. Makes sense.
Yes.
Or if your turn ends and you haven't attacked a hostile creature since your last turn or taken damage since then. You can also end your rage on your turn as a bonus action. Once you have raged the number of times shown for your barbarian level, you must finish a long rest before you can rage again. The thing I'm finding interesting is, one, there's no, as far as I can tell, there is no alignment restriction.
That's fine.
Unarmored defense you get automatically, I guess. So when you're not wearing armor, your AC equals 10 plus your dex plus your con.
Okay.
Okay,
So
that,
then
that,
you can use
that
a
ups
shield.
barbarian just a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can use a shield.
Well, yeah, because it's not classified as actual
Yeah.
armor.
So that's pretty mean.
That would make a barbarian a lot more stronger, because the fact that a lot of the barbarians, for example, that I make,
Yeah.
the two biggest stats they have is strength and con.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what they're beat sticks. That's what their job is.
Well, especially because they get a D12 for health usually.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and I know that in Pathfinder, it actually is amount of rounds that you have your thing. So, like, for example, I said 1 minute for that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's amount of rounds equal to your con plus something. So it's like, basically you can, like, if you have 12 at the first level, you have 12 rounds. If you stop it prematurely after 4, you still have 8 more rounds.
The remaining rounds that you can use.
Yeah. So it's actually something pretty cool to that. And like I said, I don't like the fact that if you don't get hit, you lose your rage. Because in all argument, I have done it before where I've ran into combat. And while running into combat, I'm trying to fucking
Yeah.
Like, I didn't make it. But I didn't want to walk into combat because I didn't want to be in a rage, or not in a rage while he was standing in front of me. Because the fact that I've had that before too, where, like, you know, a GM goes, "Oh, you're going to go into a rage." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a free action. I can go into a rage." Well, attack of opportunity. I'm like, "How?"
Yeah.
I'm just going to go "Argh!" and stab him. Like,
It's not like you were doing a Goku power-up. If you were doing a Goku power-up, I could understand the attack of opportunity.
Yeah.
Because why nobody's...
I don't get it
Why
either.
nobody just walked up and kicked him in the balls when they're doing
to be
this?
truthful, I think a lot of the time with that, it's either one of two things. One, I think that the yelling stuff...
The
is
presence.
It's actually... It's happening over, like, 3 seconds. But it feels like it's happening over 30. Because the fact
episodes?
that... Well, yeah. But it's more of the concept. I think the reason that it's doing that is because it's trying to indicate to you what the two people feel.
Yeah.
Like the fact that, you know, like I'm going, "Rah!" And then you can feel my aura, and it feels like it's that just little burst I did feels like it's like a minute long.
Yeah.
But that's because the fact that to you, you're feeling my presence and time's slowing down.
It's altering our... I've never considered it like that. That is actually a very good point, and I can see it. However, they've had people go halfway across a planet while one person was powering up. There's only so much time distortion that can happen from that.
The second one is actually certain people actually want you to get stronger before they fight you, because then they can actually beat you.
That one, I can fully accept that one. Frieza, complete overconfident shit, would want you at your best to fight you. Vegeta's the same.
Goku was really bad for that.
Goku is also the same. Goku healed his enemies just to be able to fight them at their best.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if this shit's the guy that's going to blow up the planet. It's, oh no, you've got a bruise. Here's a senzu bead. Heal up. I want to fight you at your best.
Yeah.
Oi.
Okay, with that, this 42-minute episode is done. So until next time, I horde. Just randomly talking about things. Yeah, that's what this we've done here.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.